In the vast expanse of the internet, where countless videos are uploaded every second, there exists a dark corner that transcends the realm of ordinary content. Imagine stumbling upon a channel that seems innocuous at first glance, a vlogger sharing snippets of their seemingly mundane life. What if the person behind the camera is not just an ordinary vlogger, but a cold-blooded killer meticulously documenting their heinous acts? In 2012, a genuine crime tragedy took place in the peaceful suburb of North Bend, Washington, when Peter Keller, an unassuming middle-aged man, committed a terrible act that shook the community to its very roots. This event was a true crime tragedy. Keller, a YouTuber who advocates for survival, was responsible for the murders of his wife and child before he disappeared into the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest. Peter Keller was born on February 5, 1967, into a family setting that seemed to be very comparable to that of other families. He was born and reared in the charming town of North Bend, where he spent a significant amount of his childhood surrounded by the verdant foliage and peaceful landscapes of the Pacific Northwest. His friends and acquaintances thought of him as a reserved and withdrawn person, and he did not give any indication of the darkness that would finally consume him until it was too late. An important turning point in Keller's life was the marriage of Keller to Lynette Keller, a woman with whom he would experience the highs and lows of life. Keller's life would be forever changed by this event. Kayleen, a girl who was born into the world jointly, became their child, and they later became parents to her. Every narrative said that the Kellers seemed to be a typical family, leading a life that was typical in their suburban home. This was the impression that was given by the Kellers. Nevertheless, a sinister undercurrent was forming under the surface, and it would eventually end in a shocking act of violence. This was the case. As time progressed, Peter Keller's demeanor began to change in a manner that contradicted his previous demeanor. His friends and relatives have said that he started to withdraw from social activities, and that he became more preoccupied with survivalist methods and scenarios that included the possibility of the end of the world. An underground bunker that he built in the woods close to his home was the manifestation of his obsession with being ready for the worst. This fixation took a dark turn, and it showed itself in the shape of an underground bunker. There will come a day in the future when this hidden hideaway would be revealed to be the site of a horrible murder. The fact that Peter Keller was leading a second life was completely unknown to the persons who were in his immediate vicinity. He went about his daily routine as a husband and father who seemed to be fairly ordinary. On the one hand, he made an effort to maintain the impression of normalcy by doing so. On the other side, he suffered from a delusional dread of the imminent end of the world, which ultimately led him to do acts that are beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. The facade was taken down on April 22, 2012, and the full extent of Peter Keller's depravity was brought to light by the revelation of this information. The murder of his wife and daughter took place at the home that they shared in the early hours of the morning. He planned and carried out the murders. As a consequence of the cold-blooded nature of the murder, which shook the community, friends and neighbors were left fighting to come to terms with the unthinkable tragedy that had taken place right in their midst. This catastrophe had taken place right in their midst. Peter Keller vanished into the dense woodland that surrounded his house after committing the incomprehensible act that he had committed. A massive manhunt was launched by the police in an attempt to locate the fugitive. This operation involved the deployment of search teams and the use of cutting-edge technology. As a result of the dense forests that were located in the Pacific Northwest, Keller, on the other hand, was able to avoid being arrested for a substantial length of time. In the course of their search for Peter Keller, the investigators found a discovery that came as a complete surprise. They were successful in locating the complex underground bunker that he had constructed in the forest before to his supposed disappearance. In addition to providing a look into the depths of Keller's anxiousness, the bunker, which was equipped with supplies, ammunition, and survival gear, also gave a glimpse into the laborious planning that went into Keller's escape. There was a general air of worry that was widespread throughout the area, and the revelation did nothing but fuel to that sentiment. A dramatic and violent end was achieved in the pursuit of Peter Keller, who had been on the run for 7 weeks prior to the completion of the current investigation. On the 6th of May, 2012, law enforcement personnel were successful in locating him in a remote area near Rattlesnake Ridge. As a result of Keller's decision to take his own life in response to the fear of being arrested, the tragedy that had left the community in a condition of panic and uncertainty was finally brought to an end. Immediately after the awful deeds that Keller perpetrated, investigators investigated several aspects of his life, uncovering a disturbing depth that shed light on his failing mental health. Keller was found accountable for the crimes that he committed. A variety of criminal acts were discovered to have been perpetrated by Keller. Keller had been maintaining a YouTube account on which he had made clips that gave insights into his survivalist lifestyle and doomsday preparations. It was determined after additional research. Keller had been keeping this account for some time. An frightening glimpse into the mind of a man who was suffering from paranoia and panic was provided by these videos. In the films, Keller presented a comprehensive explanation of his ideas on the end of the world, demonstrated his underground bunker that he had meticulously constructed, and offered guidance on how to survive in the event of an emergency. An individual who was on the point of taking his own life created a YouTube channel that eventually turned into a horrific window into his thoughts. The contrast between the seemingly ordinary family father and the dark, catastrophic notions that he harbored had viewers both enthralled and disturbed. It left viewers with a sense of both fascination and anxiety. It is important to note that the publication of these recordings added a scary element to the narrative and brought attention to the function that internet platforms play in providing individuals with a route through which they may convey their most nefarious thoughts and intentions. The tale of Peter Keller serves as a terrifying reminder of the darkness that may be discovered under the surface of lives that seem to be very normal. This evil can be found in the lives of all people. During the time that the community was having a difficult time coming to grips with the repercussions of the tragedy, questions continued to be asked about the reasons why a man may have been motivated to carry out such horrible deeds against his own family. It is a cautionary story that encourages thinking on the value of mental health awareness, the relevance of community support, and the need of addressing the underlying issues that may lead to tragic outcomes. The narrative acts as a warning tale. The line between the virtual and the real has never been more blurred, and the tales we've uncovered today serve as a stark warning. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this video as intriguing as it is unsettling, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling content.